God bless Bill Burr, man. He is one of just a handful of comedians who has seemingly kept his moral compass in this horrific Trump era. And he's not stopping. As all the other comedians are zigging, he's zagging, right? And I think it's paying dividends. So here we go. We got a new Bill Burr rant here. Let's listen.
And then sadly, I saw these clips of ICE going in and just fucking ripping these people out of their homes, and mothers and grandmothers and children screaming, no warrant. If fellow U.S. citizens are like, what are you doing? They like intimidate them, arrest them and shit. This is like Gestapo type of stuff. And it just blows my mind that there's a certain ugly segment of the American population that's enjoying watching these families getting ripped out of their homes. And you somehow think that America is going to be better if this is done. Like, so what? So they took those people out. They're taking these brown people out that are living week to week. And somehow you feel like if they get them out of the country, your boss who's not paying you a living wage will suddenly start paying you a living wage. What would be a great thing is if everybody read up on the history of these that have run these companies. They have not wanted to pay Americans a living wage ever. They've never wanted to pay us a living wage. And the only reason why they do is because there's laws. And the only reason why there is laws is because people died during protests to start unions. And the fucking psychos that run these companies didn't want to pay a living wage. And eventually they took their factories out of the country so they could go back to not paying a living wage in the form of sweatshop labor. And now they're eventually working their way towards this. The same billionaires that didn't want to pay in the 1800s, way back to the feudal system, they've never wanted to pay you. They don't want to pay you. And they just keep blaming people that don't look like you, that don't have any money or any sort of control over your life. And my people keep believing it. It's unfucking believable. Immigrants are not the reason why you can't make your rent. You can't make your rent because the guy that fucking employs you is not paying you enough money. He's not keeping up, or she's not keeping up with the rate of inflation. The sad fucking thing is there's enough money, there's enough food, there's enough shelter for everybody. But these super rich cunts want too much for themselves. And they're heartless. They don't give a f***. And when you start to tell them, hey, you're not paying us enough money, they go, oh, look at those fucking brown people over there. If we could just get them to stop jumping over a wall or get them out of their houses. If we could tear apart their families without a warrant, then I would somehow magically start paying you enough money where you could live comfortably and have health insurance. Unreal. And I got to tell you, the fucking people that are just watching this stuff, and you don't think that eventually, if you just co-sign on an agency being able to do that, just barge into somebody's fucking house like that, just start lining people up, asking questions, no warrants, just total intimidation, right? If you're signing off on that, you have to understand, do you really think that that's just going to stop there? Let's say they got all the illegal immigrants out of this country. That work still has to be done. So now who's doing that work? And what is the rich guy doing? Do you think he's going to pay American citizen wages? Is he going to let one nickel roll out of his pocket? Has that been your experience watching these super rich people? Just out of curiosity. Anyway, it's tragic. This is just a really mean, ugly, I can't even say period, I guess exposure, that it's just brought all of these super fucking overtly racist nationalist psychos to the forefront. It's even happening in like stand-up comedy. It's like, it's fucking wild.
Is that a subtle shot at Rogan? His buddy Rogan? He knows who Rogan's having on his podcast. He knows he's talking to Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and Peter Thiel and Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk and all of these robber baron oligarchs and fascists.
I don't understand. Who knew that there was this many fucking people out there that felt oppressed if they couldn't be this fucking hateful? Anyway, but that doesn't mean you can't be a good person. You can combat all of this and I don't know. I feel like some leaders are going to emerge.
I don't even need to say anything. Shit, he could take my job. He's doing this rant is just him doing my job, right? Like if he wants to stop with the comedy shit, he could have a left-wing talk show like that, bro, and his shit would blow up. Because that's exactly right. He's describing exactly what the problem is with MAGA there. Republican voters were told the reason your life sucks, it's because of that immigrant who just came across the border. It's because of that trans person. This is the worldview, the picture that's been painted for them is, I understand your life sucks and I'm going to help you. But the way I'm going to help you is to scapegoat these marginalized communities, say they're the problem, convince you they're the problem. But then here's the thing. Once they start oppressing these people, once they start persecuting them, once they start deporting people with no reason to do it whatsoever, no due process, no warrant, etc., people are going to realize, well, hold on. Okay, you got rid of all these immigrants. My life didn't get better. In fact, what happened? As a direct result of immigrants being shipped out of the country illegally, you have all these red states now who are going, damn, we don't have anybody to fill these jobs. Let's bring back child labor. Let's bring back child labor and, have your 14-year-old work an overnight shift in a dangerous job. Maybe that'll do it. So, if anything, the impacts of this are objectively worse for everybody. It's bad on its face because of the persecution and the oppression. But if you go one step deeper, one layer deeper, you realize it's actually bad for everybody. Because the trans people are not the problem. Immigrants are not the problem. These marginalized communities are not the problem. And he hits the nail on the head when he says the real problem are the billionaires. It's the oligarchs. It's the multinational corporations. It's the corruption. They don't want to pay you a living wage. They don't want to give you health care. They don't want you to have a fulfilling life. They want you to be a fucking slave peasant who shows up and does your job and goes home, right? And by the way, they don't want you to be able to afford a home. They want you to fucking rent a home, right? Because the landlord's got to get rich too. So every single thing he said there is exactly right. Stop scapegoating immigrants, stop scapegoating trans people, and put the blame where it actually belongs, on the billionaires. They have bought our government. They run everything. And that's why when Trump was inaugurated, who was sitting closest to him? Who was right next to him? All of the billionaire robber barons who funded his campaign. They had better seats than many of the people who were in his cabinet, y'all. What does that tell you? What does that say? And so at the same time you have a robber baron coup, you have a fascist takeover. And all those people in MAGA, you were duped. You've been had. You've been took. You've been bamboozled, led astray, run amok. And when are you going to realize? When are you going to realize where the blame actually belongs?